Good evening, CAN TV viewers. Thank you for tuning in to the Doty Report on Comprehensive Health. My name is Yolanda Givens, and I am your host. This report is a segment of the Georgia Doty Comprehensive Health Organization, here to just share information about health care, health resources, talking to survivors of the different diseases and medical issues that are plaguing our communities. We have health professionals come in, health care organizations come in, and survivors here to share their story. This organization has been around since 1996. We have the founder and CEO, Mr. Don Doty, which we want to always say hello to, who has been an advocate of and challenging the different health disparities that are within our community. So thank you, Mr. Doty, for continuing to build this legacy and continuing to advocate for quality health care and quality resources, and just to be an educator and a motivator for our communities to live healthy. So let's get right to it. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's also Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and our last couple of shows we've been going back and forth and talking about both, and I am just honored to today, pleased and excited about today's guest, which is Officer Linda Stanford. I'm just very excited to have her here with us to share our stories. Viewers, as you know, please feel free to call in. We encourage you to call in with questions and comments, and even to give some encouragement to Officer Stanford as she began to tell her story. She has been with the Chicago Police Department for 24 years, right?
Yes,
24 years. 24
years.
years. And it's a great thing to be sitting next to someone who have been serving the community for that amount of time.
Yes.
Miss Officer Stanford was diagnosed in 2007 with breast cancer. Went through remission, began
Yes.
remission, and she's going to tell a little bit about that.
Yes.
And then in 2015, the cancer came back, and it came back in her lower back and with lesions on the spine. And she's been battling that for the last few years, as well as in 2017, she had a problem with her colon as a result of the radiation. So I noticed that her hashtag, I'm saying her hashtag, but I noticed that she put in the information she shared that I am a survivor, and I really love that, that you are a survivor. So I'm just going to open it up for you to share some of your stories, and being diagnosed and what that process was like for you.
Well, I was diagnosed in 2007, and I had a very unusual case because my cancer grew out on the outside of my breast. That's what was really unusual. I had a very unusual case. Had a bump that grew out on the left side of my breast. It's not, the doctors had never seen anything like it before. It grew on the outside of my breast. So it was like a bump, an extra breast growing. So I really didn't want to, I didn't think it was cancer. It was like a bump. It was growing, and I tried to bust it, and it never bust. So finally I showed the doctor. So he told me to go get a mammogram. So then they told me to go get a biopsy. Then when they tried to do the biopsy, they opened it up, and all the cancer just spilled out. Now, mind me that it was just strange because I had the biopsy and it was surgery at the same time.
Okay.
So when I woke up to the surgeon telling me, you have cancer. And I just like almost passed out because I've never been sick a day in my life.
Okay.
So I thought I was hearing things. I'm like, cancer. So I told the doctor, I said, well, can I go home and just think about things? She's like, no, you got to start Monday on treatment.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, you know, this is life or death. I've never been ill. So I had to go through 8 rounds of radiation.
Okay.
I mean, 8 rounds of chemotherapy. So that was kind of like surgery because the biopsy turned into her trying to take some of the cancer out.
Okay.
When she did the biopsy, because when she opened it up to biopsy it, it was just so full of cancer.
Okay.
So she tried to take a lot of the cancer out. Then I had to go through 8 rounds of radiation. Then I had to do a lumpectomy to take the lump out because it was still a lump, because even though they shrank the cancer down. Then I had to go through 5 5 weeks of radiation.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, okay, everything's okay. So then I'm doing great. So they told me to go on tamoxifen. So I started taking tamoxifen. I didn't like the way it made me feel. So I said, okay, I'm not going to take tamoxifen. I reached the 5-year mark. Because everybody says, they said once you reach 5 years, you're okay.
Right.
So I'm thinking, okay, I'm over the 5-year mark. I'm like in the 7th year. So in 2015, I started feeling pain in my hip, and I was like, maybe I'm having some kind of hip problem. So I kept going to the doctor, and then I went to the hip doctor. So then something told me to mention to the last hip doctor that I had cancer before. They ran a test and said, your cancer is back. And I just was like, what?
Okay. So did they say there was a connection between
They said
breast cancer and...
They said the cancer had moved from my breast to my back. And this is why now they have changed the status. They're telling, I go to University of Chicago, they changed it now. Your cancer can return at any time.
Okay.
They used to say if you met the 5-year mark, you don't have to worry. That's not true anymore. Even if you take the medication, the tamoxifen, it can still return. Because I thought that once you take once you reach your 5-year mark, you're clear.
Okay.
They've changed it. They're saying it could come back 5, 10, whatever amount of time. And the doctor said, well, maybe if you had taken the tamoxifen, it might not have come back, but there's no guarantee of that now.
Okay.
So then I was just like having this excruciating pain. I had to go through another 6 weeks of radiation. I had the lesions on my back. It was just crazy. And mind me, I've never been sick a day in my life. Now, I didn't know my history because my parents, by the grace of God, adopted me when I was 8 days old.
Okay.
So I didn't know my background. All I knew was my biological mother was I was born on an Indian reservation, so I'm part Indian.
Okay.
But I've never, really looked for my mother, my biological mother. So I don't know if I have my biological mother has a history of cancer at all.
Hold that thought for one second. In case you are just tuning in, again, viewers, we thank you for tuning in to the Doty Report on Comprehensive Health. I am talking with Officer Linda Stanford, and she is sharing her story about being a survivor of cancer. Feel free to call in with questions, comments, even words of encouragement. Again, this is Officer Linda Stanford, and we are talking about breast cancer, which I guess you could say she recovered. She was in remission, and then it came back.
Right.
Okay, and so when it came back, what happened?
Okay, then I had to go through 5 to 6 weeks of radiation because it came back as lesions on the spine. And now I just couldn't believe it because they told me once you pass the 5-year mark, that means the cancer is, you don't have to worry about it. Well, now they've changed that. It can come back at any time.
Okay.
So I just didn't believe it. And when I went through the first round of cancer, when I had it in 2007, I started out with a lot of nice ladies, and we were going through it together. Now, this is where I kick in about talk about the insurance. Okay. And I'm so grateful to God that I do work for the city and that I have great insurance. Okay. I started out with ladies who didn't have good insurance. Yeah. So, we went through the round, I said, hey, we were talking. And then when I came back around, I started going through I have PPO, Blue Cross Blue Shield. And, I saw them when I was coming back around. And I was like on step 4, getting ready to go through. And they were still on step 2. And that's why I encourage people to please try, get your health care. Because if you don't have insurance, it's very difficult. Okay. You don't know how important it is to have insurance until you get ill. I didn't understand the importance of having insurance until I got cancer. Okay. Because I've never been ill. My insurance bill probably is $2-3 million now.
Wow.
Because now, even with my aftercare, now that I have gone through my second round of cancer, I have to take a shot every month called Pfizer, which is probably, I don't know how much that costs, probably in the thousands. And then I have to take another shot called Extreva every other month. I have to see the doctor every month to take the shot. I don't know, there's no telling how much this shot costs. So it's so important for you to see your doctor, go to the doctor and check on yourself.
Right.
And just because you're healthy now, which I tell younger women, it does not mean you're going to remain healthy. I am a living witness to that. I've never been ill a day in my life.
Wow.
Other than the just normal things.
Wow. So we have her. Yeah, she was blessed to have health insurance, and this is why it is so important that that you try to get some type of health insurance.
Yes, please do.
Most of us, when I go to the doctor, they be like, girl, you healthy, but you never know.
You never know. You never know
when something's going to occur.
You don't.
And we know that healthcare is expensive.
It sure is. And it's so important. And you need to go to the doctor and check on yourself more than once a year, because you need to find out what's wrong with you.
So do you mind me asking, what age were you when you were diagnosed with breast cancer?
When I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I was 47 years old.
Okay.
And
had you had a mammogram?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I had been getting mammograms, and that's why it was shocked. I was a very rare case because my cancer grew on the outside of my body.
Okay.
It was very unusual.
And did they say why? Did they know why?
They don't know why. I am a very, very unusual case. It was a bump that just grew on the outside of my body. The doctors were stunned because they had never seen a case where the cancer grew on the outside of my body.
Wow.
And I am so blessed because I have very few family members. I'm blessed to have you have to have a good support group. I have support. I have a wonderful work family. If it wasn't for the people I work with and my bosses, even the superintendent has talked to me about it, because it's a lot of stress just having this job. You know?
So I was going to go into that. How did it affect your role as an officer?
It does. Right, even now, I'm at the University of Chicago. I go to therapy, for my, they have I can't see a therapist.
We have a caller.
Okay.
Caller, are you there?
I sure am. Hiya, Georgia Doty. How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Okay. Good evening, officer. How you doing, sweetheart?
Fine. How are you?
I'm okay. And how are you feeling these days? Are you a lot better now?
Yes, I am. Thank God.
And are you back on the force working?
Yes, I am. Thank God.
Praise the good Lord for your insurance. Don't hang up yet, because I got a few things to say.
Okay.
As far as the city of Chicago with insurance, just about anybody can get Medicaid. If you don't have too much of an income coming through, you could always go to the Medicaid, and chances are you might get some kind of insurance. With the Obamacare and everything changing, there's a lot of good things coming towards the health insurance for people of Chicago that cannot afford it. So that's a good thing.
Yes.
Now for you, I got a question. When you have those extra lumps on your breast, did you get yourself one of those, when they take your breast off, what do you call that? When they take your breast off, the
mastectomy?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, did you have that?
No, I did not. I had a lumpectomy where they took the lump out.
Okay, and then it went down to your hip, right?
Yes, by back.
What did they do when it went down to your hip?
I had radiation.
There you go. Now, I got a funny question to ask you.
Okay.
Because you've been through a lot of pain.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a thing called medical marijuana. I have a girlfriend that occurred ovarian cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a nurse for a hospital. And she was afraid to take it because she would lose her job. But because of the condition that she had of the cancer, it helped the pain. It helped the burning of the dripping of the chemo. It helped her appetite. I'm not talking about reefer, go out and party. I'm talking medical.
Mm-hmm.
That's where Periwinkle's going to come in. I hope she gets in. But for you, sweetheart, God bless you. Keep going. You're an inspiration. If you got God on your shoulders and you're sitting next to Georgia Doty, she the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's our regular caller. She always calls in. And then we have another caller.
Okay.
Caller, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You have a question or a comment?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to ask the officer, what is the policy with the police department regarding breast cancer? What is the policy with the police department regarding breast cancer?
seems like he's trying to ask, is there, and it probably would be with anything, like what is the in terms of being off or yeah, what would be the
We are allowed to take medical time off when we have illnesses, a serious illness like that.
Okay.
We are allowed to take medical time off. It's a very good medical plan. We are allowed to take medical time off.
Okay, so it's definitely good to know
Yes.
that the Chicago Police Department is very supportive.
Right, they
of
are.
someone like yourself.
And we do, like I said, we have a very good counseling department.
Okay.
We can go down for counseling. We have a counseling department. They've started a support group for divorce counseling, but I think they might start a canceling.
Let's talk about the counseling piece of the mental, because traumatic. I mean,
Yes.
this is traumatic.
It
can be
is.
traumatic for anyone.
Well,
but I heard you say that you are doing counseling.
Yes, I am. I'm going to counseling at University of Chicago.
Okay.
And I'm going to start back again. I'm going back again where we go once a month for cancer counseling.
Okay.
And just talk about it, because with the job and the stress of the job, and talk about how it is to live with cancer.
Okay.
And then I have a lot of support from my coworkers and my bosses and everything, and they really support me a lot, encourage me a lot. And if I say what, I might just not, like, if I a couple of times like, I'm gonna be late, and they're like, or I'm not gonna come, and like, if you don't come to work, we're gonna send a car to your house and see what is going on, you know what I mean? And I have a lot of good bosses who talk to me and say, Linda, I think you can do it, I think you're gonna make it, you're really doing good. And then one time the superintendent came in, I was just talking to him, because he's very personal. I said, I just don't think, this is just too much. He's like, I think you can, Linda, you're doing really good, I think you can do it. So he remembers me. He's talked to me about cancer, and he's talked to a lot of different people about cancer. He's very supportive and personal.
So that's good. So we definitely know going through something like cancer and any disease or disorder, that support is very, very, very important.
Yes.
I think it's important for you as an officer. I know many times civilians, we don't think that you guys get sick.
We do.
Okay, we have another caller. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I'm so happy that the young lady is there talking about breast cancer, because this is breast.
Did we lose you? I think we lost her. Hopefully she'll call back. If you are just tuning in, this is the Doty Report on comprehensive health. And tonight we're talking to a survivor of breast cancer.
Yes.
and even cancer that came back at another part of her body. And we were just talking about the support and the traumatic part of it, and how important it is for people to seek counseling, and how important it is for people to have some form of insurance.
It really is. I mean, I saw women fighting for it, and cancer survival has a lot to do with timing. When you're diagnosed with cancer, you gotta get started the treatment, because when I told the doctor, said, can I go home and just think about it? They were like, no, you need to get started on this. You can't go home and just think about it and say, oh, it's not like that kind of disease.
Okay.
You gotta get started on it before the cancer starts moving.
Okay.
And so, when you have insurance, they start working on it. But when I was going through, before the healthcare, bill passed, they just was sending people back and forth. Go see this. You got to get started on your chemo. You got to get started on your radiation. You have to get started. And before that healthcare bill, it just seems like they weren't moving fast enough. Now, because I have insurance, they move at a quick pace.
Okay.
And you don't realize how important insurance is until you become sick, and it is really important. I always encourage people, if you can, please get insurance, enroll in insurance, please.
So did you hear of any resources for women, that those women that didn't have insurance?
They can enroll. If you're low income, they have county care. You can enroll in county care. That's supposed to be really good. I would enroll in it. Don't let, now is the time where they are having open enrollment.
Okay.
That is really important.
Right.
Don't let this time, everything else is so important and you just forget about it. This is really important, because just because you're not sick now, it does not mean next month you won't be, because I'm a living witness. I was not sick.
Okay.
There was nothing wrong with me at all.
So what does being a survivor means? Like, how's your life now?
My life is like, I don't take anything for granted, okay? I tell people, I just don't take life for granted. I don't say, oh, it's not going to happen to me. Because it can happen. And people look at me and say, when I tell them, I don't look like I had cancer.
Yeah.
And then I always say, well, how does cancer look? Nobody ever is able to tell me that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because there's a lot of ladies in my support group. There's a lot of policemen that have cancer. You wouldn't know they had cancer either. Because there's no look of cancer.
Right.
Just like there's no look of HIV.
Right.
You can't look at somebody and tell if they're ill.
Okay.
You know, so I always tell people, don't take anything for granted.
Okay.
While you're young people, while you are well, now is the time to take care of yourself in terms of getting insurance, getting life insurance. While you are well, you can't get life insurance when you get sick. You know what I mean?
Right.
While you're well and in good sense and have your mind, now is the time to step up and take care of things.
Absolutely. Maybe this is the caller calling back. Caller, are you there?
Yes, it's me again, Mr. Jody. How you doing again, officer? I think we got cut off. Didn't mean to insult you about the question about medical marijuana, but I have another question. This is October month. This is Breast Awareness Month. And every month we have runs, we have donations, we have more donations, more donations. Where is all that money going to? Isn't it supposed to go towards research so that we don't have problems like the officer here, so that we know when to catch it way before it comes? Year after year after year, we run, we donate with the little pink hearts that we buy. They need to start putting more money into the research. Cancer's been around, and it takes so many lives, young lives, old lives, white lives, black lives, and I'm just hoping someday that the money that they all receive from these donations, from our running of millions of people, that it goes where it's supposed to go for the research, so we can stop all this for our future generation. And God bless you again, and let me get off the phone and listen to your reply. And
Thank you. I don't know how we can answer that.
Well, I think I honestly say that I believe they have made a lot of good strides with cancer.
Good to know.
Because the kind of cancer that I have cancer, it's called estrogen positive cancer. My cancer increases with estrogen. And they have a pill that I started on too. And they didn't have that pill 10 years ago.
Okay.
For people, it cuts the estrogen down. 10 years ago, if my cancer had come back, I wouldn't be on this medication, Faslodex. That's a new drug that keeps the estrogen down. That increases my survival rate to 10 or 15 years.
Well, that's definitely good to know. So we are getting ready to wrap up, and we chatted a little bit about that. And I just said, being a community advocate, I could not have a Chicago police officer here and not ask the question or allow you to share your thoughts or what you would say to the community just about what's happening in Chicago as it relates to the violence and our young people and just the relationship between the community and Chicago PD. What could you say to our viewers about that?
I could say I have two nephews. To decrease the violence, I think that we need more parents to get involved with their children. I look at the way my parents raised me, and I was an only child. My parents were always involved with my life. Checking on my friends, know who my friends were, know who my friends' parents were. We don't have that now. Parents don't know who their friends are. They don't know who their friends' parents are. These children now have too much freedom. And they spend too much time on Facebook with the iPad.
Right. We have another caller.
Okay.
Caller, hurry up. We only have a couple of minutes.
Okay, I was just calling really quickly. I know the conversation now is about the children. What would you suggest resources for parents to kind of get it together? What types of things that they could do to really structure their children would you suggest?
I would suggest that for them to put their children in groups like my parents put me in, like the Girl Scouts. I would think that they should get their children involved with programs like playing chess, playing backgammon. I would suggest they keep their children very, very busy, like my parents did. My father believed in, even if you know a subject, you're getting in tutoring anyway. Homework groups. My father believed in things like that. Getting your children involved with parents and families like my parents. Going on groups like to the Museum of Science and Industries. Always, my parents always believed in making sure your hands were busy doing something.
Something positive.
Right. You got to be busy. That's the way my dad said. My parents were. You got to be busy doing something. You can't be standing around doing nothing. Busy. Going bowling with a group. Okay?
Wow.
That's what my parents were.
Well, we have 1 minute and we want to wrap up. I thank you so much, Officer, for being
Thank
here.
you for having
Thank you
me.
for telling your story and sharing some input on your thoughts about what's going on in our community. Georgia Doty on Comprehensive Health will be back here. The Doty Report will be back here next Tuesday at 7:30. We have an event that is coming up on the 28th of November. Look for more information to come. You can go to our website at www.georgiadotyinc.org. We thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
And I want to thank my department for letting me do this, and all my bosses for letting me, for helping me
to Chicago PD. Like, I'm so honored to have you. It's good for us as civilian and community members to see that you human just like us.
Yes, I am.
We human just like us.
Yes.
Thank you for callers. Thank you for viewing. See you next Tuesday, same time, same place. Have a great evening. Thanks so much.
Okay.